Good. You need to sit down. You don't sit down enough.
Yo, facts. Both. Well, honestly, one of my jobs is definitely on their feet. The other one we're supposed to, but we finessed and we sit down a lot.
Thank you guys for joining us on tonight's
All right.
episode of the Catching Up Podcast. We are. Hold on, you froze, man. I mean, you were in a laughing position. It was very positive, but are you back?
I guess I did. You never
Hello?
froze.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we're in a little bit of a different time right now. We're shooting at the nighttime, so yeah, it should be fun.
Ooh.
We might be on some more chill energy than usual. I don't really know.
Yeah, I felt like I've lived 2 days already,
Why?
bro. So, well, my name is Gabriel. In case you haven't been, if you don't know us yet.
My name's Tyler. Yeah, we've been having some new people subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, what's
so
up, y'all? We
you.
appreciate the views.
Yeah,
the comments, the
we
likes, the
thank you
subscribes.
guys. Yeah, it's been a good start to the season for sure. We've definitely been growing very slowly but surely, and that's all we can ask for. So we appreciate it. Share with your family, share with your friends. And yeah, we appreciate you being here, spending this time with us. So continue.
And don't worry, we do see everything. We fangirl about, we got 4 more views this week than we normally do on a video. The internet's bad. Hold on, let me.
Gabe's going through another hurricane, so I'm gonna have to talk to. Well, I guess I'll continue on myself tonight on this podcast because I don't see him anymore. He froze. I can hear you. I can't see you, but
Hey, can you hear me now?
I don't really need to see him anyways. Yeah, you're back.
Hello?
Yes, hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello. You're on live with the Catchin Up Podcast.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Communication with this guy.
All right, take 2. We had some technical difficulties because apparently my Wi-Fi can't download my wife's Xbox game and have me FaceTime at the same time.
He has Cricket Mobile.
I
so
actually
it makes
have
sense.
AT&T. So honestly, AT&T, bad review, 1 star. Honestly, like I'm sorry, I didn't make the rules. Anyways, I don't even remember what we were saying, but
you were gonna get into your
no, I was
hectic
saying that
week.
we see everything. We get excited about little views and not little views. Every single view we get and every subscriber. So we really appreciate you guys. And we do read all the comments. We do apparently. Lauren really wants us to get wedgied. She wants us to play rock paper scissors, and whoever loses has to get wedgied.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Like we can't. I mean, I know it doesn't look like it, but we are virtually talking to each other right now.
Yeah.
We're not in the same room.
I am in Florida.
Gonna see him during Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe
We'll do a Christmas
if we happen
episode.
to be able to do an episode, together at home when I go back for Christmas, maybe we can make that happen.
Yeah,
make
we'll see.
a fan's dream come true.
Or comment on this video and let us know that does it have to be like we have to give the other a wedgie, or is it okay if a friend does it? Because then we can just take a video of whoever loses of their friend giving them a wedgie.
I don't know about all that.
Oh,
but,
you don't trust your
anyways.
friends? Anyways, welcome to the show. Let's just play that intro and then I'll tell you about my day.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show's about to start. Introducing Catchin Up Podcast.
Catching Up Podcast. If you're not caught up, you're catching up. I don't necessarily know what that means.
Okay, so my day started with my alarm, unfortunately. And then I needed to get a root canal. So I wake up, it's like 10:10 in the morning. I get there. And, you're in the dentist's office for like 20 minutes. Long story short, 3 hours later at the end of it, they're doing the root canal. They're in there. And I guess before they put my temporary crown, I don't know what he's doing, but he's hitting something against my tooth. I think it was like the spacers, so it doesn't like the cement doesn't like touch the other teeth. I'm not sure. I don't know. Regardless, dude, it started hurting. The anesthesia started to wear off. And for some reason, every time I have like a filling or root canal, like they put like the legal limit they can put in me, and I still feel pain. But then by then, like my face is numb for like 6 hours after, and I had to go to work today, and I had to train the new guy. So I was like, I can't be talking like this the whole time because my upper lip can't move. So I was like, nah, I don't need any more anesthesia, whatever, right? Or the shots. And then he gives me like ibuprofen just to help out. And dude, it got so bad because then not only was it hurting from getting knocked, like getting hit a bunch of times, but then it also started hurting because they needed it super dry. And they kept blowing cold air in the tooth, like the vacuum for the, the suction. So then my teeth started getting like super cold on top of like normal root canal pain. And bro, I felt like it was worse than like getting a tattoo, like genuinely. Like I was like shaking. I've never shook from being in so much pain. And then I started to tear up because it was just so bad. And he was like, dude, like I can get the dentist to give you like another shot. And I'm like, no, I have to go to work. I'm like, I need to be able to talk to the dude. Like, it's fine. Like, let's just get this over with. But he was taking his sweet time, bro. Like sweet time, which is
it
fine.
Felt like that to you,
correct?
Bro.
But it was just like, bro, like you can see that I'm like physically shaking and crying from how much pain I'm in. You'd think you'd hurry up just a little bit, like just a little bit, And I don't know. Maybe he was, and I just don't know. But it was just terrible. So, and then, like, I have, like, a headache. I'm, like, coming down from it once it's all done. The ibuprofen's starting to kick in. And then I, like, go to Foxtail, I get my prescription. I go to Foxtail, set up some stuff for the podcast to post. Then I have to go and change, go to work, train the new guy. Love him. He's a great dude. So I'm excited to work with him. But then I had to go and train him. And then I came home, ate, took a shower, and now we're here.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm a little tired.
Now I see why you feel like you've been up for 2 days.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, I worked today, but that was it. So
yeah.
It wasn't anything crazy like that.
Bro, I'm like exhausted.
Yeah. The dentist trips are never fun. I mean, as a kid, I wasn't one of those kids that was scared of the dentist because the dentist I went to, they had like cool neon lights. And I remember they'd always let me like pick a toy out of the treasure box afterwards. So like as a kid, I actually didn't mind going to the dentist, which is good because I still do, but I liked candy a lot. So I was there pretty frequently as a kid, unfortunately. But I know there's some people that are like super terrified of it. Like I never mind the dentist. It's just I know like it's going to hurt. It's going to like, usually, like you said, your mouth is numb. So, like, you have to deal with the after effects. So, like, it's not something I'm, like, excited to go to, but I'm not, like, in fear of it. Like, some people are, like, terribly scared to go to the dentist, You
know what I realized today is that I was thinking of that, too. I was like, wow, when I was a kid, I was one of the people that loved going to the dentist. Like, I wanted to be a dentist for a really long time, actually. Like, that used to be my dream job. And
I cannot do that.
And then I realized how much schooling you needed to do, and I was like, no thanks.
Yeah.
But regardless, I loved going to the dentist and all that stuff. And even when I would have fillings, because I also love candy, and I needed a lot of fillings, I would never freak out about my not being able to feel my lip. I never would freak out about having to stay in one spot the whole time. And I've realized that, like, as I've gotten older, like, that stuff freaks me out now. Like, stuff that didn't make me anxious back in the day makes me anxious now. Like, when I can't feel my face afterwards, like, I kind of freak out because I'm like, oh, my God, like, what if I'm going to, like, bite through my lip? What if I'm going to, like, overdo something? What if I, like, cut myself and I didn't even know? Like, I don't know. And then also just, like, the numbing feeling. I don't like it, like, the lost control. And then when I was a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing. Like, I thought it was crazy.
It's weird. It's like when you scratch your face and you, like, can't feel it.
Right?
And then you forget that it's numb too. So like,
yeah,
it's a weird dilemma. But I am more scared of the pricing nowadays than I am of what's actually going to be getting done to me.
Yeah, bro, that root canal's not cheap, and I have insurance.
No, not at all. I don't. So it's weird. My health insurance plan on my work, it covers dental, but for kids only. Figure that one out.
Are you a child?
I'm like, that doesn't.
You need to have. That's what.
like,
That's what you need to do. You need to have a kid. You need to name him Tyler Reefer, and then you pretend to be him.
Pretend to be
Yeah.
Tyler Jr. Well, since it is October, it is the month of Halloween, we decided to get into a little movie review. And we decided to do Smile because I hadn't seen it and I just watched it for the first time. And then he had seen it, but like a while ago, right?
Yeah, I saw it a long. I saw it a
it.
while ago, so I rewatched it.
Yeah. So yeah, we rewatched it. He rewatched it. I watched it for the first time. I say, yeah, why don't you go first? We'll get the perspective of somebody who's rewatched it.
Okay.
And then you'll get the fresh perspective.
But just because it's in my hand, because I thought you were gonna go first, I was gonna start eating. But for all those Taki lovers, I found a substitute that I personally think might be even better. This is not sponsored. If you want to sponsor us, please send us an email. Sprouts has chili lime chips that are pretty much here, so Tyler can see. They're pretty much Takis. They're Sprouts' version of Takis, and they are just as good, if I dare say better, because at least in my opinion, the spice is the exact same. The Taki flavoring, like that chili and lime, is still there, but you can taste a little bit of cheese too with the Sprouts one, which I'm very fond of. So if you want a new version.
I'm going to have to one-up you, though. I don't have them on me. And I don't like Takis, so I don't know if they taste similar. But the chili and lime, they're the same thing, like the little tortilla chips from Trader Joe's.
I'll try that next week. I haven't had the Trader Joe's ones yet.
Those look like they're almost they look like a cheese. Like the ones from Trader Joe's are like red. They look more similar to a Taki.
So yeah, it's still red. It's just a lot less powder.
Yeah.
But I also think it's because some of it's probably yellow for the cheese. I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm really fond of these. Do you have a Sprouts near you?
Oh yeah, we have a bunch.
Then go to Sprouts and get these, and I'll get Trader Joe's for next week.
So yeah, I'm gonna get those. You're gonna get those, but also you need to try at Sprouts. I've only seen it at Sprouts. It's mochi, and I think
their version of mochi,
but I think this one. Well, I don't know if it's the Sprouts versions, but the churro. Have you ever had a churro mochi?
I don't know.
Bro, it's the best mochi you'll have.
Send me a picture of it and I'll buy it.
I put money down on it.
I bet. My wife and I love mochi, so.
It's my roommate got it and I tried it once and it's just the best one I've ever had.
I bet.
Anyways, now we're gonna get back to our Smile review after our quick advertisement.
How was our grading scale? I forgot what it was like.
I don't know. I would say just give your overview.
Okay, I got you.
Go 8 out of 10.
Look,
yeah, I didn't really look at it.
Horror movie wise, it's a little more on the I guess supernatural side of things, but it's not like super like demonic in like a demonic way. You know what I mean? Like it's not like evil spirit. Like she's kind of like figuring it out. It's kind of like a murder mystery. So I did like that aspect where she's trying to figure it out. Honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna say yet. But I'm just going to say now, spoiler alert, just so people don't get mad at me.
Just in case.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, the second one's coming out, so if you haven't seen the first one...
It's been a couple years. Come on, keep up.
Yeah.
Come on, chap.
I was slacking,
Slow. Okay, so it was a lot gorier than I thought. Like when the first girl like started slicing her face with the glass, like I couldn't even look, honestly. Like it was very gory, but honestly that was kind of like the goriest part. Other than when she fell in the kid.
Yeah, it wasn't overly like it was necessary for that type of film, but there's some movies that go overboard.
They were very real. It was kind of like a realistic type of movie, honestly.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool how they showed a side of therapists that we don't normally see. Because for those of you that don't know, the main character is like a therapist in a psych ward hospital. So she deals with like a lot of mental health patients and. She sees this late girl kill herself right in front of her, commit suicide. And so it's crazy, like, seeing how, like, that affects a therapist's mental health. Because at least for me, like, you always think, like, oh, like, therapists, like, got it together. They got all the answers. They literally are a therapist. Like, that's their job, is to help people. So seeing a therapist go have her own therapist, I thought was really cool. I thought that was very realistic, and I like how they incorporated that into the movie and made it like kind of like a very main event. And how, like, therapists also have their own trauma, and that's a lot of the times why they decide to help people. It's not like people that have all the answers. They go through their own things, which I thought made you have a connection with the main character a lot more and empathize with her a lot more. But anyways, so effects-wise, I thought the smiles could have been creepier, in my opinion. I feel like with the advertisements for trailers, it was like super like almost like Joker-esque smile, like it's almost unnatural. Some of them I kind of just felt like they were just having a really big awkward smile. So I wish it was a little more like unrealistic. But I thought the acting was phenomenal. I thought the girl in the beginning, I thought she was a great actress. I genuinely thought she was like freaking out. The main character, her character development throughout the show, I personally thought was phenomenal. The husband pissed me off. One, because he's A-Train in The Boys, so I already hate his character. And then two, I honestly thought his acting was really bad in that movie. Like, personally. Like, the whole time I'm like, I could have done better than that. Like, what? Personally.
So it kind of took you out.
Correct. So I was like, honestly, if she was just single, I think it would have made the movie better. Or just casted like a better actor.
Or just
or just casted a better actor for that. I don't know. He just, like, you could tell that he was kind of just like, whoa, no way. Like, it was like he played off he didn't care as like numb, like emotionless, as opposed to like, you know what I mean? Personally.
Yeah.
That's just so that brought me out of it a little bit. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. She's going to go face her demons. I was like, bro, this is a great written movie. And what ultimately pulled me out of it was the very end when you saw the actual entity. I was like, bro, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I feel like then it should have been a little more like Insidious-esque. Not like this creepy long beast that looks like I ordered it off the dark web. You know what I mean? Like, that's exactly what I thought of. That video of the people ordering a clown from the dark web. That's what I thought of. So it was kind of just like, Like, for me, that killed it. And then, like, when she, like, went in her mouth and, like, peeled all her skin off, I was like, what is going on? I was like, there's no way that this happened to the girl beforehand all during that phone call. Like, you know what I mean? Because if that's what she has to do to take over the body and make it commit suicide and bounce to the next person, that had to have happened to the previous victim.
Well, I'm confused, though, because I may not just be remembering it correctly, but wasn't that kind of all just like a vision? Because remember, she like burns the house and leaves, but then it cuts to like another sequence and then it's just her again.
Correct. And then the whole thing was an illusion that she didn't actually burn the demon, right?
Yeah, so was the demon real?
When the guy, the cop, comes and shows up at the house and she realizes that she was just tricked, she was like, no, runs back in the house. And she's going to try to kill herself before he comes in. Yeah. And then the demon comes out of the hallway. She's like, no! Because she's like, I didn't actually kill you. And then the demon rips its skin off and has like a bunch of jaws. And then she's like, no. And then she like, I guess that's like kind of like the it factor, like Pennywise, where he like sucks you into the spell, because that's when she goes, and then the demon grabs her mouth, opens it, and climbs in through her mouth. And then when the cop, ex-boyfriend, comes into the house, it's the demon inside of her smiling, killing herself, setting herself on fire.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched this last night, so it's very fresh.
Yeah, I watched it like a week or so ago.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anyways,
so
continue
if
on.
it wasn't for the boyfriend and it wasn't for the display of the demon, like honestly, if it had no skin, it was just like the mask that they used. I was just like, what is this? Like this looks like a homemade mask. I would have probably given it like a 9.5, but I'm just gonna settle for an 8 because it was still scary.
Yeah.
It's still creepy, and I am very excited for the second one. I want to know what it's gonna be like. So yeah.
Have you seen a trailer?
I have not actually.
Okay. Okay, cool. Sweet. Well, I think those are some great thoughts.
He's like, now to
my review,
poop on everything you've been saying.
Now to a real review. No, I'm kidding. But my review of the movie Smile, the first one, not the second one, it's not till this weekend. I really, really enjoyed it. I know. I didn't watch it for so long because I had heard such divisive things about it, and I think that kind of like I let that judgment on it kind of turn me away from it. So I just didn't check it out, and me and my friends were watching a movie. We were like, want to watch a Halloween movie the other night, and or just like a horror movie, for October. And I was like, I haven't seen this. They hadn't seen it, so we all checked it out together for the first time. And I really liked, like you said, the aspect of this happening to
A therapist?
so what is she, a psychiatrist? I think that's what she is. Because she's a therapist, a psychiatrist. Like, she deals with people that are like going mentally insane, and think like things are happening that aren't actually happening. And I really liked the aspect of it happening. Not I liked it, but I thought it was a good choice instead of it just like being about some like teen girl or teen guy, because then it flips the script on her. And even though what she's seeing is real, it's kind of in a way like, and again, I know she helps these people, so it's like take this with a grain of salt of what I'm saying, but it kind of like is showing her
What it's like for them.
what she does to other people, yeah, and like what it feels like, right? And of course, a lot of the times for them, dude, I'm getting so much feedback. Like I can hear
Right now?
myself. Yeah, every time I talk, it's like I can.
Now?
Okay, that's good.
Okay, I just muted myself.
But now I can't hear you. Oh, okay. But if you need to talk, I mean, obviously. But yeah, so I really like that aspect. I thought the acting throughout was great, especially the lead. I think she did such an amazing job. Like at the end of it, I was like,
Yeah.
man, I really feel like she should have gotten nominations for this role. Like I think she really
I
put
agree.
that fear of like what that would be like. I love the scene at the house where like, the dead cat comes out in the box and like she's like, no, it wasn't me, and then she falls down into the table, and like I thought that was gonna be a hallucination. Like I didn't think that was gonna be real, and then it was, and I was like, what is going on? Like this is crazy.
Bro, I agree. That was the craziest scene. I also was like, oh, she's about to wake up and be like, what the heck happened? And then she's in the hospital, and I
Yeah.
was like, no way.
Yeah,
It was a
I was
crazy
I can't
twist.
Believe
Yeah.
it. And just the fact that like literally nobody would believe her. It just shows like how scary that is if it was like real, which in the movie it is. And they did a really good job of creating that, and like just her starting to realize like, wow, literally I cannot convince anybody that this is real. Like even the cop, I think he, for the longest time, I mean, he goes out to find her in the end, but like he thought she was going crazy too. He was a little bit more understanding than everybody else, but everybody just thought they're like, you're just suffering PTSD. And it was really done well. I think the kills were also, like you said, they were gory, they were real. The smile factor I get, like, but I fear that if they tried to go a little bit too far, because you were saying you would have liked to seen the smiles larger, like it might have looked fake. So I guess depending on how that's done, could have been better. But yeah, I didn't mind it. Like I think it's just creepy to see somebody just go into that transformation of like, oh, it's them, and then now it's not them. Especially in the beginning, like the opening scene, I thought was flawless. I thought it was great. And then, towards the end, I can agree with you about like the demon. It's a little weird. I didn't mind it at the time, but when I had time to reflect on it, it is a little bit different. And it's like, would it have been scarier if that wasn't even explained? Like, she just doesn't know how to figure this out. And, obviously she's trying to kill it, so it makes sense. So I don't know. I didn't dislike it as much as you did, but I also think that like there could have been another route. I don't know what that is, to where you didn't need to show that. I thought having the fake out of her like killing it and then that not being real was great, because I was like, oh wow, like I can't believe this is it. And then it's like, nope, she's still there. And then in the end, when the cop runs in and like sees her, and it sucks because it's like now it's getting passed to him, like, and that was the one thing she was trying to avoid, is passing it on, and ultimately that's what ends up happening. So I'm sure I'm missing a few things. Like I said, I watched it last week and I've watched a few other movies since. So, obviously it's not super fresh, but I really enjoyed it, man. There was some great jump scares in there as well. And me and my friends were all very like locked in on it. It was very capturing and captivating, and like we really enjoyed it, all of us, collectively. I don't think anybody was like, nah, that was all right. Like, we all really enjoyed the film, making us get excited for the second one. So before I give my quick thoughts on the second one, I think I'll rate this first one. I want to give it like an 8.7 out of 10. I liked it a lot.
8.7?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Why?
Why 7?
Because it's like it's not a 9, but it's not an 8.5 either. Like it's
Why
it's better
are you
than
this
an 8.5 to me.
Holy moly!
Because I am.
We're gonna round up and say it's a 9.
Yeah. Whoops.
My lighting? No.
Cheap set.
Your set sucks. Yeah. If anything, I would probably round it up then down. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. And now like, going on to the second one. With that being said, like I really enjoyed that first one. It was a great watch. And it was just like different than things I've seen. Now I more so go on to I watch slashers more than I do like Insidious or any of those movies. So maybe this was I feel like kind of a mix of the two, which I like. It was a good blend. And okay, on to the second one. So I have seen the trailer. I won't like say anything to you about it because like I always think it's kind of cool to go on blind. I don't know how. I'm excited for it, but I don't know how it's going to turn out because it looks like it's not following the same storyline of it being about a therapist or like a psych. I always forget the term. A psychiatrist. Yeah, psychiatrist, therapist. Of somebody in that professional field where they deal with, mentally insane people. I think that was really a cool way to like tackle the first one. The second one, I mean, it's not giving anything away, but it's more so about a pop star.
What the heck? It doesn't even go to the cop?
I don't know. I have no idea. It might like start out that way and then maybe that's how she finds out. I have no idea.
No, this is dumb.
We're going to see.
This is dumb. It needs to be the cop, and it needs to be him be like, oh my God, I got to figure it out. And then the cop kills someone.
I don't know. I'm curious to see the angle they take. I think it could turn out well. I don't necessarily think. I mean, it's hard to surpass the first movie in any film series. That typically never happens. So obviously, you're going in with high expectations already. But I don't know. I'm curious. We'll definitely both see it and give our thoughts and reviews on it. It's got Jack Nicholson in it. Not Jack Nicholson. My bad. His son, Ray Nicholson.
Really?
Who obviously Jack Nicholson has that iconic like crazy smile.
Yeah.
So over here they have billboards up, and I really like the billboard for it. It's literally Ray Nicholson smiling, and then it says, "Would it kill you to smile?" And then it has the number 2. So like, would it kill you to smile too?
Okay.
So like, I thought that's just like really clever marketing. Last year, I don't know if you remember, not last year, but when the movie first released, they had people go around to like stadiums and stuff, and they were just standing there smiling. Do you remember that on like social media?
I think
everywhere?
so. Yeah.
I haven't seen any of that this year, so maybe they're just like going more. That was to create hype for the first one. So yeah, I'm curious. I just think that I really like the storyline of this first one. Again, ending aside, like I think the ending is questionable, and there's certain things about it that probably could have been changed, but I did genuinely like the storyline. So we'll see how the second one goes. I think it's got a good cast lined up, and I think it could be great, man. So it really just depends on
what they do with
the
it.
storyline. If they had a good story for it, who knows? So we'll see. But yeah, that's our reviews for Smile. If you've seen it, drop your review. We'd love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions as well. And yeah, I think that was cool.
Are you still echoing?
No.
Oh, but
I wonder what it is, because sometimes it just randomly comes up. Well, no, now I can hear it. Are your headphones like just too loud, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, now it just came back. Now that you brought it up, it came back. I don't know what it is. Hello.
How about now?
Hello. No.
Maybe it was just
Good.
too loud.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Yeah, because I think sometimes I can hear it, and it's not as, I don't know. It'll kind of go in depending on the channel, but
Heard. Yeah, so that's our ratings: an 8 and an 8.7.
I think that's good. I think that's fair. I think that's basically kind of what it got like at the like with critics and audiences among. It was kind of around like a 7 or an 8. So I think we're pretty on. I'm probably a little higher than most, but this is coming off of a first watch. I feel like you can give.
Also, mine is
like
a
real rating
rewatch
after your
too,
second watch.
so we see things a little differently.
Yeah, you're kind of viewing it for like especially with horror films, bro. Like the first watch is always the best, I think.
It's that crack.
Unless it's something like it, which I think it still is, but something with like Jordan Peele, or something like that where there's so much to like take in. You definitely need rewatches. But yeah, and I'm also gonna go see The Shining for the first time this weekend. They're playing it at the Vista.
Yeah, I've never
That's supposed
seen it
to
either.
be. Yeah, it's heralded as one of the greatest horror movies of all time. But it also is one that like has some mixed reviews because apparently it's a Stephen King adaptation, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, the movie's great," but then you read the book and the book is so much better. I've never read the book, and I'm also like, okay, but like, they did what they could. Like sometimes like the book is, it can be more detailed and stuff. Like I think people forget with film, like there's time limitations and like, you have to kind of cut corners in certain aspects. And so you got to give it a little bit of grace.
And budget.
But yeah, it's like that. And, directors, they're giving their take on it. But, regardless, I think it's still pretty highly thought of. So, yeah, I'm very excited, especially to go and be able to see it like in theaters rather than just on the TV at home. So, yeah, I got a lot of movies to watch. I want to go see the new Saturday Night movie as well.
Yeah, me too.
That looks fun. So, yeah, there's a lot to catch up on at the theater coming up here.
Hopefully, I'll be able to see it before it leaves theater, but I also want to see Speak No Evil.
You can wait till that one comes out.
Really?
Yeah, it was good, but for me, and like I'm not going to do a full review, but like for me, the problem that I've noticed, and I haven't seen all of them, so this is just my take on the ones I've seen with like recent Blumhouse films, is they have good actors. James McAvoy is great, dude. He does great
He's
in
an
the
amazing
film.
actor.
And yeah, and so like you have that going for you, and then you just don't utilize like the storyline. It gets intense and it's interesting and there's suspense, and then it kind of just goes nowhere and like nothing really happened. And like spoiler, so like if you're listening and you haven't seen it or you want to, well, I'm not going to tell you haven't seen it and you want to see it, so I'm not going to say anything, but like it just falls short is what I'll say.
I mean,
And
is
I'm
it kind of like how the
was-
trailer ended, where it's like they kind of just left, or there was kind of just like, oh, Like the trailer seemed like it ended like that too, where it was kind of like, what?
I mean, yeah, it's just like it's a good movie, but that's all it is, right? So it's like I'm not taking a dig on it. It's not a bad film.
You know,
it's just like, oh, that was
I
good.
feel like that's
Like I wish more happened, but you know.
You said it's a Blumhouse movie?
Yeah.
The Black Phone or whatever, I felt like it was kind of like that way with the Black Phone too.
The same thing. And I thought like they, you know, going into the Black Phone, I was like, okay, this is going to be a great movie. And then I was like, nothing really happened.
Yeah, it was like it was
but...
2 hours. Oh, sorry. It was 2 hours and an hour and 45 minutes was the same exact suspense done over and over and over and over and over again.
Exactly.
And then like it resolved itself in like 15 minutes and you're just like, oh.
Yeah. So like that's kind of the same thing here. And again, like it's still a good movie. I'd recommend watching it, but like if I wouldn't like put it above something else. You know. Gotcha. Because like we just went and saw it cuz you know, we have stubs and so we're like, yeah, why not? My friend really liked it. So, you know, but I don't know.
So your friend's opinion is trash, apparently.
They really got it. No, but, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Right. But I just think Blumhouse needs to kind of get back to that. You know, they have great scripts. I think they just need to work on, like, their halfway points. Like, okay, you really got to turn it up right here. You know, like, this is where we got to turn it on, and we can't let it die down from here, you know. So yeah, if you've seen any movies recently, let us know. We love horror film. I mean, I love horror films. I think he does, but let me know your top 5. Maybe I'll give my top 5 next week, before Halloween. I lean towards more slashers. So typically I do like top 5 slashers because I haven't really given a fair shot to like other ones, but like they also just don't appeal to me the same. So, yeah.
Red flag.
Why?
He said, I only like the ones that, like, you know, kill people in it. If there's not blood and guts, I don't really care.
I just think, like, I like they just typically do more atmospheric settings that are, like, of my taste. Like, it's, like, you know, college or, like, you know, everybody's going at this, like, group, you know, this group vacation or like, I don't know. It just seems like I typically like the cast and characters better than like in the other movies. It's like, oh, family goes to house and demonic stuff happens. I'm like, all right. Like they're good. They're just, I don't know. I've grown up with like the Michael Myers and Scream and Freddy Krueger. So like, I think it's kind of like whatever you grew up with, you kind of gravitate a little bit towards more. Cause like, I know a lot of people that like probably don't care for or watch any of the like Friday the 13th or Halloweens or stuff because like they're great movies, but they're older, so like they're typically not as, you know, they're a little bit more campy than most. But I seem to enjoy them more than, I mean, you know, it's a little bit more of a specific following.
Tyler, you don't have to prove yourself.
Anyways,
okay?
Hey,
we
it's more
accept you
so
for
like
who you are.
explaining my love,
my intentions, my passion.
Yeah, no, I've always had a likeness for them, but yeah, I mean, I have something I'd like to get into. If you don't have anything,
I had a feeling I saw the books earlier.
He said I saw your books. Well, I mean, you know, if you want to take the floor, go ahead. I'm honestly gonna ask you a question more so than anything.
Oh,
so,
jeez. Okay, yeah, just ask me the question.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the spot today because you say all I want to do is talk.
All right. 12.
No. So I was reading. I just got to. Now we're gonna get into a little bit of our Bible study. So if everybody wants to open chat here,
literally.
I got into Philippians this week, and in Philippians 3, you know, when Paul is talking about how. Basically, he gets into like this speech about saying if anybody can boast, if anybody could say that what they have done through their good works is what's getting them into heaven, he's like, it's me. Like, I've suffered, I was a Pharisee. I followed the laws. Like, he basically lays down all these different points as to, like, if anybody was to boast, it could be me, right?
And this is Paul speaking?
Yes.
Okay.
And, well, he's the one who wrote Philippians.
It's just for the audience. Just making sure.
Yes. And he even says, he's like, I once thought that these things were valuable, but I now consider them worthless because it's more so all about what the work that Christ has done. And as me and you know, the way that you get into heaven is by knowing Christ. It's not through your good works. Like, I feel like so many people, especially when they're new in the journey, especially me, it's something that I am currently working through. It's like, just because you do good things, and like, obviously when you come to Christ, your heart, your mind changes. So you want to do more good things in the world, and for people, and in helping and serving others. And that's showing your transformation. But that's not to be like, oh, well, I did this, so I'm a great Christian, or I did this, so I'm a great person, and I'm better than you. And I think, it perfectly lays it out there. So if you're looking for something like that in Philippians 3, you can go and read about it as well. But all that to say, like, how have you dealt with the balance of it? I guess it's hard to, like, word my question, but, like, how do you deal with remaining humble in your faith? Because, again, it's something that I think everybody struggles with, right? I think it's something that Christians, probably not alone, other religions as well, but like in other religions, right? Like, that's how you get into heaven or whatever their afterlife is. Most of them are about the good works you do on earth, and you never know if you're doing enough, right? So, like, that's how you work your way towards it. But with Christ and with Christianity, it's not about that. It's about having a relationship with Jesus, praying, reading your Bible, spending time with him, not just like, opening your Bible and going to church once a week. Like, do you really know Christ then? So I think it's hard for people, and I think this could be great for people who are, looking to the faith or trying to know it a little bit better, is like, how do you deal with remaining humble, or like, how do you check yourself? Because maybe you go and do some charity work, or you help a couple of homeless people, or you've really been on your Bible study this week and you've been spending a lot of time with God, and you go out and do some good acts and some good services, and you're like, well, that means I'm a good Christian, so I'm going to heaven. Like, because of all these things that you do because of the transformation. You know what I mean? Are you like picking up when I'm getting down in question wise? It's just more so like, how do you keep yourself in check and remain humble, and not let like these good works become something that you in turn boast about, or allow you to think that you are better than another Christian or just another person in general?
Okay. That's a big question that I don't think I've ever been asked before. So good job. And I'm trying to because I sound
you don't
conceited,
have to give me like a,
because like I'm trying to formulate my answer, but like oh God, excuse me.
Now he's gonna throw up.
Can you imagine? Okay, let me sit up a little bit. Okay, realistically,
yeah, like
it's
more
like
so practical. It doesn't
no,
have
no,
to.
no,
Yeah,
no. Like as you were saying that, I was like, realistically, I don't know if it's just because I have a bad memory too. You never know. But I almost feel like I don't ever really struggle with like being cocky about it, because I always feel like I'm falling short in some area.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've never been the perfect Christian or a really, really good Christian, because like, yeah, I can volunteer 20 hours a week at church, be part of the worship team, lead a small group, but then it's like, because I'm doing so much, like, then I like sacrifice like reading my Bible. Or it's like, or I'm like reading my Bible, but then I'm like, I'm not volunteering as much now. And like, not saying that those are the reasons, like one cancels the other out. I'm just saying like, I feel like it's always like, I'm never 100%, and I feel like I almost never can. I don't know. That's a whole different story. But so it's like, I don't know if it's just because that's me being down or hard on myself, because that's just how I am. Because you, as like being my best friend for years, I'm very hard on myself. So I don't know if that is necessarily like why I've never necessarily struggled with that, but I have struggled in the sense of like, I know the answer, I know this, and like you should do this because I did it. And which is not necessarily like I'm a better Christian. It was more, but I guess it is. Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, it was kind of me being like, well, I struggled with that and I did this and this and it worked. So like you should do it too. And I think it was just like, I guess the way that I got humbled in that way or stayed humble was having people not listen to you, like having people like completely reject what you're saying, and then you having to make peace with that God works in different ways for different people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's like understanding like how someone, like we all have different struggles. So God's answer for me is not going to be the same for you. If I struggle with, let's say, lying and you struggle with stealing, the same thing is not going to work.
Right.
So I think it was, and I think what humbled me a lot was inviting people to church and people like not coming and me getting like super upset about it. And then I think like with that, it translated to everything else in the sense of they're going to come on God's timing, not my timing. My job is to keep trying. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know if that necessarily answers your question because I feel like it doesn't, but I guess that's always been like my thought process of like, like they might not be doing what I'm doing right now, but at one point I wasn't doing it either. It just might not be their time.
Right. That's a great point.
I feel like that was a good loop around, huh?
Yeah.
But I feel like that's kind of like how it translated, where it's like, as I'm learning, like reminding yourself that you were there too. You know what I mean? You also didn't read your Bible at one point. You also had doubts at one point. You also didn't do this at one point. You didn't think this way at one point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of like, it's like the what people always say of like, when a boss is a boss for so long, he forgets what it's like to be an employee.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that.
Right.
Like you got to stick to like that type of mentality of like, never forget that like Jesus himself, who came down perfect to the T, showed us what a perfect human lives like, and he did not hang around with people that acted perfect.
Yeah,
because we all start exactly. He was just perfect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But it's just I don't know. I don't know if that. I feel like that answered your question, but I'm not sure.
I mean, it's definitely it's a hard question to answer,
especially on the spot like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think there's so many, it just came to me. So I was like, I'll bring it up and see what happens. But I think that it's something that so many people do struggle with. And I think it's something that even, going back to the point that you kind of capped it off with, and it's like, well, I was in that position at one point too. And even if it's not the same thing, again, like you brought up the lying and the stealing, right? Because I'm like, okay, I feel like at certain points, when you've been renewed and when you've started to change your ways, of course, like you can always slip up and go back into that, but you kind of have gotten in this new flow, this new rhythm, and you're really trying, and you see other people doing these things, or you see other people living a certain lifestyle, right? For example, like you see, a young kid going out and partying and drinking and doing whatever he wants sexually and this and that, and you're like, you can kind of be like, wow, like this guy, like there's no direction there, there's no like, he's not trying to be a Christ follower, like he's not trying to focus on his eternity and his purpose and building a relationship. And it's like, whoa, slow down, like that was you, and this could go for like any facet, like that's just one very specific example, but like, and again, if you haven't been there, just realizing that like everybody comes in God's timing, and also realizing that we've all made our mistakes and we've all never been perfect. So it's only through Jesus that we are saved. So like none of us deserve to be saved. Just because you do a bunch of great things and, you are a part of this, and those are great things. I'm not saying that like going and serving and helping others. And I think it's an amazing thing. But I think, we have to be careful to not put ourselves on this pedestal and judge others for this, because one, it's not our place to judge, and it's such a hard thing not to do, but it's not our place to judge. It's our place to encourage. It's our place to spread the good news. It's our place to come lovingly and maybe, give the person some tough love. Like, I'm not saying you have to be like, hey man, I don't think you should be doing that. Be like, hey man, no, like I want to look out for you. And again, if you want my advice, I'm here, and I want you to know, like, this is what I believe. So if you have questions, if you ever want to chat with me and pick my brain like I did with you. But yeah, I think that's just something that in today's society, especially, in the community, can kind of be detrimental. And it's a hard thing. It's something that I think we're going to, people are going to have to work through for the rest of their lives, because again, you can be doing great at it for one season of your life, and then, I don't know, for some reason you get into another season and you start to kind of get up on your high horse or whatever, But I think that's something that, obviously just came up in my reading. So like, it really spoke to me, and I was like, oh, that's something that I always need to be able to keep in check, is making sure that my mind isn't telling me that I'm better than because I'm doing these things now, or I'm better than because I'm building a relationship with Jesus. Like, that saves me. And so my place is to go out and to continue and now spread and, help and encourage others. It's not for me to go out there and be like, hey, if you want to become like the best like me, I'm better than you. So if you want to get on this level, like, no, that's not what it's about. Like, their experience is going to be different than yours. Yeah, you might see similar transformations, but it's not going to be the exact same. So you have to also realize that as well. Go ahead.
You brought up a point of that. I thought about this earlier and I forgot to say it. You said that, I guess it's not your good deeds. It's not your good deeds that get you into heaven. It's God, right? It's Jesus. And it goes back to I don't know if it was. Sorry, it's the.
You might want to
it's these. Okay, so.
Laughing, burping.
Okay. Take two. You were saying that all good deeds is not what gets you into heaven. It's God. It's Jesus, right? And it goes back to what I was saying in, I don't know if it was last episode, because we just released a vault. So I don't know if it was the episode before that.
Probably prior.
Yeah. Or the one before that. I don't really remember. But when we were talking about Psalms where God was like, oh, I am your father now. It's like, even back then it was always said that, oh, it's not your good deeds. It's once you accept my adoption that I become your father and you inherit the kingdom of heaven. You inherit all these things. You inherit mercy and grace and love and all this other things. So it really has nothing to do with what you're doing. And once you accept it, obviously you start doing good things. It'll translate into one another, but you can't have good deeds without God. You got to have God to have the good deeds. That makes sense.
Right. It's like, that's what transforms you. And so that's not something that so then, yeah, that's why you boast about Jesus, not about the good deed that you're doing. You boast about him, because without him, you wouldn't have had that transformation.
And then, precisely. And that's where I was I thought of this too. I might have not have struggled with that as much too, because my way of volunteering and worshiping and showing God my love was through music, right? And my influential years of where I was really doing a lot with it, and it was really my passion, and I'm learning everything and becoming who I want to become. My choir director, before every competition, we always won. And if we didn't win, it's because our advanced women's choir won first place, and then the mixed choir won second. And if the girls aren't there, we win first. It's just it's always us.
Right.
So, we had every right to be arrogant and for lack of a better word, cocky. You know what I mean? But our director, aside from my personal feelings for him, he was always teaching us, it's not about us. It's not about you. It's about touching other people's lives. He's like, we're here to move other people with this music. We're here to, he's like, as long as we can touch one heart in that crowd, we've done our job. We've won. It doesn't matter what we place. So it was always, we're not doing this for us. We're doing this because music is a way of communication. It speaks to people. And then,
it's a way of praise,
exactly. So, and then when I was also, learning how to be a worship leader, both my mentors, like, they were always like, it is not about you. The second you think it's about you, you're no longer worshiping. So, I think with that also being drilled into my head of, like, my biggest way of volunteering and doing, I guess, like, good work and, like, you know what I mean? Like, doing the things that I want to do to praise God, it was always drilled in my head that it's not about me.
Right.
So I think that also kind of helped me not always be like super cocky about, I do this and you don't.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like, I think that's the thing too. It's like I think you've been fortunate to have some great leaders and pastors in front of you, because you've obviously, like, this has been a lifelong thing for you. Whereas, like, for me, it's new. And while I mean, I love the church I'm at. I think the pastors are amazing. The people there are amazing. It's still very new to me. And I'm still, like, learning on a daily basis. And so for me, that's just like, that's such a big concept that I not only see, but sometimes, and it's not that I ever, like, put people down, but it's more so thoughts, right? And I'm like, no, you have to like, let that thought go. And, like, just remember that, like, okay, just because, like, you're transforming and you are, changing as a person, that doesn't make you better. Then it makes you better personally. You're a better person. You're a better soul. And you have now the best relationship you could ever have with Jesus. But that doesn't make you better than anybody else. We are all still equal. And it's not my job to go out here and boast, but through the way that I live and through my actions and through my words and all these different things, like, that can hopefully inspire people. And if I'm out here being like, yeah, well, I'm so good because I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that, like, that's not going to make somebody be curious about Christ. That's going to make somebody be like, oh, well, this guy's really egotistical and, like, only cares about himself, right? So it's like you have to remember to check yourself and humble yourself as Jesus Christ did. And if he could do it out of anybody ever, then, like, we have to also follow that example and incorporate that into our growth as well, Yeah, so that was just a question that I had, so I thought I would bring it up to you.
That was a good question. I've never had a question like that. That was a very intellectual of you, Saya.
Wow, I am pretty intellectual when I try to be.
So this is the first time you ever tried, or? No, I'm just playing.
What are we on around now, anyways?
We're at 59 minutes, but we did have, like, a 5-minute interception.
We did, but I mean, that's cool. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about.
I just realized that we never explained why we had a vault video released last week. So just to update, we did a vault last week. If you don't know what a vault is, go check it out because they are our past. They are our past selves talking to future you. If you don't know what that means, go figure it out.
And this one's shorter.
And this one is shorter. It's only like 30 minutes. So go enjoy that if you want a quick little listen. And long story short, if you don't know anything about the news or keep up with the times, Florida had 2 hurricanes back to back 2 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So I just canceled because Tyler's in California. For those of you that don't know, we are not actually in the same room. I know it looks like it, but I just decided to, just in case the power went out or things went sideways, I didn't want to be like in the middle of recording and have to worry about like figuring things out while I'm doing that. Right. So we just decided to let me not have that stress in my life, and we just decided to not record last week, but we're back this week. Thank God. My house is good. My grandparents' house is good. Aunt and uncle's good. Mom's house flooded again, unfortunately, but better than the first time. So, but it's all good. It's getting taken care of. God's good. So, he always provides. And yeah, that's why we released a vault last week.
Right. So yeah, check that out. If you don't know, the Vaults, we typically record either before the season or sometime in the season, but they don't get released till later on. Again, we use them for like fill-in spots if we need to miss a week, if something comes up, or just if like, I mean, sometimes we go through a season and don't need to. We just kind of release them as we feel, but they're cool. They're like just different conversations from the past. I never remember them.
Same.
I don't think he does either until like we get to editing them and we're like, oh wow, this is what we talked about. So they're always fun. We get to experience them for the first time too when we edit them and then hand them off to you guys. So yeah, but we just want to take the time real quick to say thank you. If you made it this far, especially thank you, because I know it's probably not the easiest listening to us talk for 2 hours. I mean, not 2 hours. Listening to
it probably
two
feels
of
like
us
2
talk
hours
for an hour for people that you don't even know. Like you don't know us. You don't have any reason to continue listening to us. But if you do and you made it this far, we really appreciate it. If you could please, spread the word. Let people know about the podcast and what we're talking about, and let us know, what parts you're enjoying and what you want to see expand upon. I'm very glad that we're able to bring this aspect of faith into our podcast, and I think that it's something that is going to be helpful for us and for others, just to see my growth especially, but also he's always growing on a daily basis too through it. So like, I think it's a really cool aspect. So if you have any questions for us, or are there any topics or anything you want to see us cover in that realm of the podcast, just let us know. But yeah, shout out to you guys for tuning in. This season's been great so far.
Also,
I know it doesn't look like viral views, but go ahead.
Also, to give some motivation out there to those people that have friends or loved ones that are struggling, and you keep try to guide them a certain way, and it doesn't necessarily go. This podcast, season 2 specifically, is a proof that patience and prayer works. It took like 6 years, but we're here.
It is.
Finally.
It definitely is. He's like, man, yeah. And I think that's something that we could definitely we could do a deep dive into as well. At one point, I know we touched upon it.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that yet, but no. Kind of just the inner workings of like how our relationship worked with, obviously being on opposite views in that time frame, with you being religious and praying for me, and the patience that it took for you, and then kind of going into like my journey through it and why it took so long and when it came, how it finally came. So I think that could be a cool episode for us to kind of delve into and give more introspect into, So
it's just because I'm
obviously not
younger.
right now,
if I was older, it would have happened a long time ago.
Yeah, because he would have hit.
Yep.
You're gonna do this. You're like,
Read the word
with the Bible.
But all right.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Once again, I'm Tyler.
I'm Gabriel.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.